Hello everybody, tonight we'll bring you action from 35 games across the EFL with more highlights than any other Football League show that's gone before us. And alongside me tonight, Dean Ashton is back. We'll be joined later as well by Sam Parkin. Now, with no fixtures on Sunday this week, we can show you highlights from all 24 Championship teams, including the top-of-the-table clash between Leeds United and Swansea, while Nottingham Forest welcomed an in-form Preston North End. On to League One, loads of good games to pick, but it promised to be a grand occasion at Gillingham as they welcomed a Bolton Wanderers team who can hopefully start moving forward after being rescued this week, and a really tasty-looking clash as well between Blackpool and Portsmouth. Now, League Two, after clipping the wings of a couple of Premier League sides in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night, Crawley and Colchester United were back to their day job. So let's get on with it. Last season's meeting between Brentford and Derby was a pulsating 3-3 draw. Now this season, though, the Bees have struggled to find the target, scoring only twice in 5 games. So they were hoping the first start of the season for side Benrahma could make a big difference. Now, after some strong criticism for fielding a very inexperienced Derby side against bitter rivals Nottingham Forest on Tuesday night, Philip Cocu recalled the usual suspects today, including the second start of the season for Jack Marriott, and Paul Walker was at Griffin Park.
Henry sends it over, Watkins sniffing, out by Keogh. Here's Jensen. Canos! Pushed away by Calarus. First opening of the game. Calarus forced into action here. That was bending in, bottom corner from Sergi Canos. Canos. It's an important touch from Huddleston. And Derby can break away here with Lawrence. Show too much of it to Dalsgaard. Lovely take from Benrahma. What a ball through. Watkins round the keeper and stopped on the line by Keogh. But they can't keep that one out. Brian Mbeumo gives Brentford the lead with his first goal for the Bees. Someone other than Ollie Watkins has managed to score. Richard Keogh stopped the first one, but Max Lowe on the line couldn't keep out the second one. And Brian Mbeumo has given Brentford the lead here. Brentford 1, Derby County 0. Well, he's off the mark for his new club in a week where he's just been called up to the French under-21 setup. Pinch by Canos, who hurtles away, and Mbeumo ahead of him. That's where he's looking, and Mbeumo squares it across. Watkins! And in a flash, Brentford take a 2-0 lead. A rapid counter-attack with a devastating end to it. A lightning-quick move, and Mbeumo, having just scored, now tees up Ollie Watkins for his third goal of the season. Brentford firmly in command. Kieran Dowell. Given away by Lawrence. Sloppy play. Benrahma onto Mbeumo. Brentford looking dangerous every time they come forward. Now Keogh blocked that. Big shout from the Brentford fans for handball. Well, that's handball, without a doubt. Lots for Philip Cocu to ponder. Taken short by Jensen to Benrahma. All the way across, Jonvier making contact. Canos, back post, stopped on the line. Watkins! It's a Brentford third, and surely the one that finishes Derby off before half-time. A second of the afternoon for Ollie Watkins. But this is turning into a desperate day for Derby County. They just do not deal with this appropriately enough. And Ollie Watkins helped himself. Brentford 3, Derby 0. Benrahma. Lovely ball into the path of Mbeumo. Driving it. Max Lowe, pulled back inside. Canos! Well, when they're in the mood, they are a joy to watch, Brentford. Benrahma outside of the boot. inch-perfect pass into Mbeumo. Slips it inside for Canos, who tries to dink it into the far corner. Huddleston. Now Lawrence. Can he make something happen for Derby? Certainly capable. Only a fraction wide. But we need to see a bit more of that from Derby County. Lawrence trying to be positive. Just pulls it the wrong side of the post with David Raya diving to his right. And Keogh putting Huddleston in trouble. And Mbeumo's through here. It's round Keller-Roos, who got a hand on it. Still Mbeumo. Watkins. Excellent block from Richard Keogh to keep the score at 3-0. And Mbeumo, round Keller-Roos, decides to pull it back to the edge, and Watkins and Keogh threw his weight behind the shot. Bielik trying to engineer something. Mokotjo over the top. Watkins is onside, looking for his hat-trick. Saved by the chest of Keller-Roos. It ends at Griffin Park. Brentford 3, Derby County 0.
Thomas, what a delightful afternoon for you. Was that first half, the 45 minutes that Brentford have been threatening all season?
Yeah, I would say so. I must say that the first 45 minutes is one of the best 45 minutes I've seen here at Griffin Park in the 3 years I've been here. So we are very happy for that performance, of course. Where we played quick, we played forward, we created chances, and Derby actually didn't know what to do. Second half is always a little bit more difficult, but I think we had massive opportunities to go 4-5-0 up if we just had even better touches, better decision making, and better passes. But this is what we're aiming for. This is the standard, and we should aim for, but we know we're a quite new team. There's a lot of new players and also some players in new positions. For example, Ollie Watkins playing striker, which he did quite well with 2 goals. So we know that it would take some time to get it clicking, but now everybody is fit and ready to perform. So this was a nice step going forward.
You talk about the versatility of the players who started today. Canos looked to me like he was playing right wing back, and Henry in the left as well. They seem to make a real difference today, just their pace and energy, their width and the quality balls.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's something we've been working on, especially having Sergi Canos as a right wing back, because he's such a threat going forward. And then we also put Henrik Dalsgaard in, that is the wing back or can play right centre back. And I think that right hand side, and also of course Rico Henry, just created so much trouble for Derby, and it's nice to see that it worked today.
Final question. We're definitely a fan show here, Thomas, and for the Brentford fans watching, what would you say to them directly in terms of what their expectation should be this season? Because the Championship is really so difficult to call.
First, I will thank them for their support all the way through. Mainly in the first, I think, 5 games, all of us, felt that some 2 or 3 games where we should have had much more out of the performances we put into the games. And it's always like in football, you don't have time. But when you get 10 new players into the team, and you have between 5 and 7 new in the starting lineup, it's natural. It will take time, and I promise them there will still be some very big highs, but there'll also be some downs. That's football, but hopefully week after week after week we can look more and more solid. But today, the first 45 minutes, I hope they felt that as well, that they was very promising and they were amazing in their support.
Mbeumo scored one and set one up, and we didn't even mention him. That just shows the level of that performance in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Benrahma as well is a quality player, but to see Canos as a right wing back, I hadn't seen that at all. But almost they were so dominant, he almost played as a right winger. And then Ollie Watkins, there's no reason why he can't play as a striker. Yeah. We've seen he's a good finisher. Brentford aren't the type of team that are going to lump it, and he's got to be physical. He can play and then get in the box. I thought they were just outstanding. The play between the front players today.
Derby won their opening game of the season against Huddersfield, the curtain raiser. I was impressed by them that day. As we sit here now, they haven't won since. Philip Cocu maybe not settled on what's his best team yet.
No, he came in quite late in the summer, and they have lost their creativity. They've lost the goals from midfield. Mason Mount and Harry Wilson were absolutely outstanding last season. Bogle's not been in the team as well because he's been injured. Hopefully back soon. I feel a little bit sorry for him at the moment because he hasn't got the best team, and certainly not a Frank Lampard team out there. So I think he needs a little bit more time.
Rooney coming, see where they are at Christmas. But it sounds to me like you're asking for patience. Is that off your rocker asking for that these days? Right, we're off to Hillsborough, but first to the Medeski and this City grind.
Talk about a game of two halves. It was all Preston in the first 45 minutes of this one, with Billy Bodin seemingly at the heart of everything. Homekeeper Bryce Samba was a busy man, coming out on top on this occasion, but his duel with Bodin was far from over. 5 minutes before the break, Samba denied Bodin again, but Forest couldn't clear their lines, and it was a case of third time lucky for the Welshman, a goal that had been coming for quite a while. There could even have been another one 2 minutes later. Josh Harrop with the opportunity, Forest in desperate need of a rethink and a regroup. And that's exactly what the second session produced. With 3 subs on, the home side were asking the questions now, and with 11 minutes left, one of those new faces, Albert Adoma, brought his side level. He'd only been on the pitch a couple of minutes. If there was going to be a winner, it would come from the now rampant Reds. Joe Lolly had their best chance, Declan Rudd making an important save, so this one finished one apiece.
The positive things is just we finished this incredible month very positive, and we come back again tonight. We did the same, so my team they never give up and they try until the end.
No real complaints, just disappointed in the goal. I thought it looked offside to me as well. I've seen it back. The lad looks as if he's leaning offside as he's about to run. But listen, sometimes you get a decision, sometimes you don't.
Lee Bowyer's side arrived at the Medeski on an 11-game unbeaten run, stretching back through the playoffs and into last season. But it was the home side threatening, George Puskas hitting the bar with a clever flick. Nothing clever about this, though. Andy Yiadom and Jason Pearce getting involved in the sort of tussle that wouldn't have looked out of place at Twickenham. Aussie referee Jared Gillette took the rugby approach to sorting this one, stern talking to, and no cards. Puskas had another chance to open the scoring before the break. The Inter Milan loanee couldn't add to the 3 goals he's already scored in League and Cup. Another player looking to make a name for himself on loan is Jonathan Lecco, who's joined Charlton from West Brom for the season. His first ever league goal took a healthy deflection from Liam Moore, but he's still claiming it. This match was turning out to be an advert for Lone Stars. The next to try his luck was Chelsea youngster Conor Gallagher, a hit that Frank Lampard would be proud of. Rafael Cabral was equal to it. The Addicts were gifted the opportunity to close the game out when Chukwuemeka was brought down by a combination of Pele and Moore. Their namesakes once shared an iconic image, and Lyle Taylor is fast developing an iconic penalty style. Slow walk up, wait for the keeper to commit, and score. Football at its simple best, Bobby and the Black Pearl would surely approve. With 10 minutes to go, the Royals still gave it a good go. John Swift's free kick seemingly destined for the top corner before Dylan Phillips' heroics. A late miss from Michael Morrison meant that Bowyer's Charlton had back-to-back clean sheets to go with their back-to-back wins.
Fernando Forestieri still has a massive part to play for Sheffield Wednesday, according to his caretaker manager Lee Bullen. And the forward marked his first start of the season by winning his side a penalty, taking a tumble under Grant Hall's challenge. Stephen Fletcher continued his rich form in front of goal with the penalty, 9 in 18 games, stretching back to last season. 3 wins, 2 defeats and reaching the third round of the Carabao Cup had enhanced Bullen's chances of landing the manager's job full-time. But after Nahki Wells had fired that warning sign, he set up friend of the show Jordan Hugel to expertly round Kieran Westwood and make it 1-1. We cruelly highlighted Hugel's 3-yard miss last week. It was a sitter, mind you, so only fair to wax lyrical about his scoring exploits just so he can tweet us again. Wednesday felt he was offside here. The officials felt otherwise. The on-loan West Ham striker now has 5 goals in his first 6 games for Rangers. leaving him only 2 short of last season's tally on loan at Middlesbrough. This time it was Ati Newhugh who missed a golden chance late on, as Wednesday fell to a 3rd straight defeat to QPR, who recorded back-to-back victories for the first time since December.
I think we got our just desserts. We had little spells in the first half, which was okay, but the defending for the 2 goals is primary school. We've got really good players, but they looked as if they were playing within themselves, not going that extra yard, doing the hard yards for the team. It looked as if we're a group of individuals, and again, some players just didn't step up to the plate, so it's not acceptable.
Lee Bullen's done his job for you when it comes to Sheffield Wednesday. So, like we often do, concentrate on the positive in QPR. When Jordan Hugill missed a sitter the other week, we extracted the you-know-what, and he was quite good-humoured about it. So I think we now got to pay him all the credit.
He couldn't not, could he, after that miss? But, you know, to come back and score the goals that he has done shows his confidence. He took the goals really well, and it's been tough for him because it was a big move to West Ham, and then Middlesbrough only scored 6 goals there. But he's come into QPR and 5 in 6 and showing 2 quality finishes. And I think the way Mark Warburton set his team up, I think really helps him. You know, with Nahki Wells alongside him, Ize and Elias Chair in behind as well to create, and then a solid back 3.
A question of offside with that goal, but that's 7 points from losing positions now for QPR. It says a lot.
It does, yeah. It certainly says that there's character in the side, but I always think it shows that you've got a striker in form that when the chances are going to drop, other than the one that's right under the bar, he's going to take them.
Listen, talking about character and spirit, Charlton unbeaten on the return to the Championship. Phenomenal. 4 wins. They've scored in every league game. The Lyle Taylor penalty sums up how confident they are. We've got very different views about this, but you're the expert. Come on.
I mean,
done this twice.
I just think when eventually it goes wrong, because we all miss penalties, is that going to hurt his confidence? And why are the goalkeepers moving? Don't move until he's actually about to kick it, because he's not got much power on it. But if it works for him, keep doing it.
I think Ronaldo's having a sneaky watch that and thinking of doing a Lyle Taylor. I have to say, I do love it. Preston North End, we said at the top of the show, been playing well of late. They were definitely better in the first half. But Lamouchi continues to impress me. In his first ever job, player or manager in this country. He made the right changes at half-time for Forest, didn't he?
Yeah, he needed to as well, because you're right, Preston were excellent in that first half and probably felt like they should have been further ahead. But he knew he needed to make changes, and he did. And Albert Adom has shown proven quality in the Championship. Goals he scored for Aston Villa, shows real pace. And Cavalli as well with a lovely pass through, another one of those changes as well.
Samba Sow was the other substitute. Did you read the story about the fan, Luke Webster, who had Samba, the goalkeeper, tattooed on his left buttock because he kept a clean sheet? Luke, if you're watching this, if you get on your other butt cheek Samba Sow after that game, double Samba, you can come on this show and reveal it. There you go. After the break, the top 2 at the start of the day met at Ellen Road. It's Leeds and Swansea coming up. Every Championship side, then all the goals from League 1 and League 2 right through until 11. Welcome back to the EFL on Quest. Now, Leeds and Swansea sat top of the table, only separated on goal difference this morning. Both have been scoring for fun and remain unbeaten in the league. Leeds, however, lost on penalties to Stoke in the Cup this week. Marcelo Bielsa welcoming back captain Liam Cooper to starting 11. Now, Swansea showed no mercy, putting 6 past Cambridge United midweek. But with the departures of Ollie McBurney and Dan James, Steve Cooper required others to step up, and that's exactly what Borja and Salina have done, scoring 7 goals between them in the league so far. Dan Mason is your commentator.
Here's Stuart Dallas for Leeds, who started very brightly. Dallas with a cross. Oh, Van der Horn, where's that going? Woodman got there. Andy Woodman just prevented a very embarrassing moment for Mike Van der Horn. Leeds close to a goal inside the opening 3 minutes. Pablo Hernandez will look to keep the pressure on. He's found Dallas here. Decent looking cross. There's Alioski. Woodman saves again. What a start this is from Leeds. Alioski hitting the target. The last time Swansea won at Leeds was 1949. Here's Van der Horn for them. Eventually brought down by Phillips. Could be a shooting chance with half-time approaching. It's going to be Selina. Straight into the wall now. Matt Grimes goes for goal and forces the save out of Casilla. We won't have been expecting that. I don't think anyone was. Both sides play a possession game, but Leeds have had pretty much all of it in this first half. Now, here's Matthias Klick, no room for a shot, but Leeds United have won the corner right at the end of the first half. Hernandez will swing it in. Good delivery. Cooper Hall so close, and again Leeds United come within millimetres of taking the lead with what would have been the last kick of the half. Liam Cooper so unlucky. Leeds have done everything but score. Alioski. There's a little bit of room on this near side for Leeds. Jack Harrison now looking for the 1-2. There's Klick. He tees up Hernandez straight at the goalkeeper. He just had to dig this one out a little bit. Hernandez didn't quite tee himself up for the shot. Here is Nketiah. 3 goals in 4 games so far for him. Hernandez now for Leeds. They're swarming forward here. Forshaw. Back to Hernandez. Is this the chance? Hernandez. Oh, he can't get the shot in. Harrison's shot is blocked. And Swansea survive. What a chance that was for Leeds. Harrison's shot blocked second time around. Could Hernandez have pulled the trigger a little earlier? Great block from Roberts, by the way. He's desperate for a goal now. Costa has tricked his way past Roden, and again. And they're queuing up in the middle. Hernandez! It will not go in for Leeds United. And Hernandez has had more chances than most. Costa takes on Grimes this time. He won't give up on it either, Costa. Good effort from the substitute. Oh, and again. He's found Stuart Dallas here. His cross. Here is Nketiah. Oh, side netting. That was the chance for Leeds. Woodman wasn't getting there, but Nketiah couldn't finish. Byers beaten to it by Forshaw. Now Roberts challenging. And winning the corner for Swansea. Grimes will deliver an in-swinger. Casilla was struggling there. Bodies everywhere in the box. Grimes again for Swansea. Decent looking cross. Here's Routledge. Oh, it's got in! Swansea are going to win it! With 90 minutes on the clock. How did he squeeze this in, Wayne Routledge? There are so many bodies in the box. Byers does well to get out of the way of it. And the Swans are headed for an unlikely victory.
Nobody's going to come here and not have moments where they have to defend the box really well. That's part of the game, and we did that. But at the same time, when we did, secure the ball and we did make a couple of passes, I thought we looked a threat. And like I said, we came here to win, and we got the result in the end.
Following on from what he's just said, have a look at these stats, Dean. Some people watch that in the modern day and say, how unlucky were Leeds? And they were all over them. In another day, they'd score 3 or 4. But they didn't. Do you look at it like that, or do you say Swansea defensively were brilliant away from home?
I thought they were excellent the way they set up, but I think teams are starting to figure out how to play against Leeds at Ellen Road. They've won 1 in 7 at home in all competitions in the last 7. And I think he summed it up perfectly there, that you're going to have your moments where Leeds are going to put pressure on, and his team set up brilliantly. 21 attempts for Leeds, but only 3 on target means you've set yourself up really well.
There's reasons for that. You look at the back two, Van der Horn and Rodin, but Grimes and Fulton, the protection they provided as well, it wasn't by luck. There were great tackles. There were bodies being thrown in the way. It wasn't like there were 6 penalties Leeds should have had in the game. And also the togetherness. Steve Cooper, in this job, first senior role like this, the togetherness he's got, whether it's veterans like Routledge, who scored today, whether it's players he's brought in, players out in the cold, all 10 outfield players celebrate this goal with him. He's only played 27 minutes this season.
Yeah,
What's that tell you? You've been in the dressing room.
Look, it shows you a lot, but I think as an international youth coach, your job is to take 20 players that don't know each other, knit them together very quickly into a team, and you can see that he's already done that, bringing players out of the cold like Routledge, who are buying into, obviously, what he wants to do.
Yeah, great start to the season. That's all it is, though. Long way to go. 2 more games back-to-back now, ending at Kenilworth Road, but starting in Wigan, where Barnsley were looking to get back on track.
After opening day wins, Wigan and Barnsley have both tumbled quickly into the bottom 4. Wigan have scored just once since, but Nathan Burns' chance after just 2 minutes promised better. Barnsley's response was instant. Mamadou Thiam always packs a punch, and David Marshall had to move quickly to keep his power drive out of the top corner. Charlie Mulgrew made his league debut for Wigan, just like Barnsley keeper Brad Collins, on as even after this well-matched routine. Daniel Stendhal surprisingly left out Alex Mowat and Cameron McGeehan, but Mike Barra was happy to step up to test Marshall. The Wigan keeper needed to be on his toes because he was in action again from the resulting corner, when it was met on the volley by Luke Thomas. The visitors were looking anything but a team which had lost its last 8 away games, but the goals wouldn't arrive. Patrick Schmidt too late on the scene to apply the finish. This was no typical goalless bore draw. Mulgrew's clever free kicks continued to cause trouble, although Collins may need to watch these highlights to know how he kept out Cheyenne Dunkley's header before the ball was cleared. That was where the entertainment ended, because Barnsley's Ben Williams ensured angry scenes with that badly timed challenge on Lee Evans in stoppage time. Somehow, Evans wasn't seriously injured, getting up to remonstrate. But there was only one outcome for Williams, who looked to have no complaints as referee Andy Woolmer produced a red card. The 10 men lasted out to share the points.
Managerless and winless, Huddersfield went to Kenilworth Road, where Luton were looking for their first home win of the campaign after grabbing 3 points at Barnsley last weekend. James Collins tested Kamil Grabara here. Graham Jones, incidentally, starting the afternoon with the same 11 who got that win 7 days ago. Luton had another chance thanks to Andrew Shinnie's free kick. Sonny Bradley, though, couldn't land the header. Huddersfield's best chance of the half fell to Carlan Grant. He couldn't do justice to Adama Diakabi's best work, and his effort was achingly slow to cross the line outside the netting, and it was goalless at the break. It was the Terriers who took the lead for the second time this season after Beer and Bovril, Grant making up for his earlier miss by making sure he was at the back post for a scrappy finish after Terence Congolo and Christopher Schindler had combined. Scrappy, but who remembers that, eh? Less than 10 minutes later, Luton would have the chance to equalise. Collins was fouled here by Schindler. Not the clearest cut spot kick award we'll see this year, I suspect. But the referee, Andy Davies, considered this enough contact to give the home side the chance to get back on level terms. And so Collins duly dusted himself down to score his second in 2 games, his third of the season. 10 minutes later, Luton completed their comeback thanks to the Shiniesta. An absolute peach of a goal from the Scotsman saw Huddersfield heads drop. I presume goals like this is how he got his nickname. That's his first championship goal since March 2015, when he was at Birmingham. Huddersfield thought they had a penalty shout of their own late on. Elias Kachunga brought down in a clumsy encounter with Bradley. Steve Mounier didn't wait to hear a decision, but couldn't convert anyway for a point. All the spoils went to the Hatters.
What a week it's been from three wins in a row for Luton Town. They've the same amount of goals as Fulham, as Leeds, as West Brom. Only the bottom 3 have conceded more. I kind of want to watch Luton Town every week for that reason.
Yeah. I mean, they're exciting, and it's been a very sort of championship week for Luton in terms of 1 minute you think it's all doom and gloom, put a few wins together and everything feels great. But for Graham Jones, I think you know, it is difficult for him. He has tweaked the system slightly from last season, and today there was 6 out of the 11 that started are players that he's brought in.
6 out of 11?
Exactly,
wow.
Yeah. So trying to work all that way, trying to, you know, win points always helps. Look, if you've got a player like Shinnie that can turn and put in a beautiful curling shot like that.
There was a Huddersfield penalty claim. Let's take a little look at that just to clear it up one way or the other. Not that you're a referee, Dino.
No, but I think this almost sums Huddersfield up. I think this is just a desperate attempt to win a penalty, and that's what they've been like. They seem desperate at the moment for just anything to go their way. Do you know what? Stay on your feet, get the shot away. Stop worrying about trying to go down. And I think at the moment there's lots of, you know, I think 7 players that played in the Premier League for Huddersfield now look distinctly average all of a sudden because the confidence has gone. That's
what I was going to ask you. As for the Wigan Barnsley, a particular tackle and a red card to show you here. Ben Williams, an injury time here, and Lee Evans. Lee gets straight back up. I'd love your take on this.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that obviously Ben Williams has stayed on his knees. You can tell he knows straight away it's a terrible challenge. He knows he shouldn't have done it. You can tell by his reaction that he's clearly not gone in to hurt him. He's gone diving in for the ball.
He seems gutted.
Exactly.
Him that late.
I'm just so glad that obviously Lee Evans got up and was okay because it was a nasty challenge.
Straight back up, by the way.
Yeah, no, straight back into his face.
Had been down for 3 weeks. Right, the lunchtime kick-off now. Middlesbrough up against the Bristol City side, looking for their 4th win in a row.
McNair's ball in, and it's off the post. Fletcher's so unlucky. Well, it was a clever ball, just dinked into that near post area, so hard to defend. Hunt with the big diagonal, looking for Eliasson. He's been bright in these opening minutes. And whipped in towards Baker, and it's off the outside of the post. Well, it's been a long time since he found the back of the net. And he won't have come much closer than that. Brownhill to Eliasson. 1-on-1 with McNair. Good skill from the Swede, and he's managed to get his cross into the middle, and it's placed in the bottom corner by Casey Palmer. Excellent skill from Eliasson. And a thumping header from Palmer to give Bristol City the lead. There's Fletcher. Quinn wanted it to come early. Johnson has it. And he cuts it back for McNair. There are players waiting in the middle, and it's been turned in. It's an own goal. Well, the central defender just couldn't get out of the way. And Borough have found their way into the back of the net. It wasn't a Borough player who got the touch. Taylor Moore, a shake of the head. Oh, and the touch off the defender means that Sombalonga is onside here for Middlesbrough, and he scores! Well, what a turnaround in this game. Britt Assombalonga. Well, it was Clayton who played it forward. He was offside initially, Assombalonga, but as you see, Taylor Moore very deliberately headed that ball. Didn't head it where he wanted to head it. He's clearly played the ball deliberately. So Assombalonga is onside. Baker hit the post early on in the game. O'Dowda gets it in, and it's been glanced in by Rowe. The left back in the centre forward position. And Bristol City are back level again. Fletcher to Assombalonga. And back again, he's onside here. Fletcher just forced a little wide. He's kept it in. He gets it back again after the ricochet. And Wing can shoot from here. Oh, that's close. Jonathan Woodgate still waits for his first away win as Middlesbrough's manager.
We do respect the point because obviously any championship point is hard earned. I think the boys worked extremely hard against a very good Middlesbrough side, but on another day, I think we should come out winning that game.
Yeah, I think so. And Middlesbrough have been in the end of some bad decisions so far this season. Today, maybe British Assombalonga, they got away with one. We have the benefit of watching this 20 times. We don't have that time now. But from what we've looked at it, it's just offside, but it is offside.
It's incredibly close. Obviously, he does the right thing and doesn't worry about that and sticks it in the back of the net, which is what he's done for all his career. But I mean, how close? I just think the linesman is slightly behind play, which favours British Assombalonga. His 100th EFL appearance for Middlesbrough, 100th EFL goal.
That's right.
And
a baby was born, a second child, a girl or a boy, was it? A boy, called it August. Thank goodness wasn't born in December, eh? Right, 4 more championship games still to come. And of course, we're going to be bringing you all 54 of the goals from Leagues 1 and 2. Do not go anywhere. What a night. Welcome back. Let's get to it again. 3 more championship clashes now. 2 from a similar neck of the woods. But first, let's get into the Lions' Den.
Millwall could have set up a Carabao Cup derby with West Ham next month had they not squandered a 2-0 lead and lost on penalties at Oxford. After missing 2 spot kicks in Wednesday's shootout, they won another inside 10 minutes against Hull City. Geordie Device fouled Matt Smith, giving Jed Wallace the chance to mark his return from suspension with a goal. If in doubt, go straight down the middle. If only he'd not been banned 3 days earlier. Now, take a moment to guess what happens next. It's Kamil Grzycki over the free kick. He's a player with an eye for the spectacular, so did he mean this to beat his Polish compatriot Bartosz Białkowski? Białkowski was nearly caught out again when his save from Jarrod Bowen gave Kevin Stewart an easy chance to score. The former Liverpool midfielder has been praised by manager Grant McCann as Hull's heartbeat this season, but he still awaits his first goal though. Millwall tried to outmuscle their opponents in the second half but couldn't find a way through. Ryan Leonard's header was the closest they came. That despite Hull ending the match with 9 men. John Terrell went off injured within moments of coming on as their 3rd substitute before Josh McGuinness was sent off in stoppage time for lunging in on Leonard. But there wasn't enough time for Millwall to take advantage.
As one of 4 unbeaten sides in the division, West Brom looked a home banker as they welcomed Blackburn, who hadn't scored from open play in the league so far. It took less than a minute for Tony Mowbray's side to put that right, Bradley Datt scoring his first in the Championship this campaign. The Baggies' response took a full 20 minutes, but when it came, it was brutal. Matty Phillips signed a new contract this week that will keep him at the club until 2022. He showed the strength of an agent pushing for a new deal as he held off Greg Cunningham to level the match. The winger was involved again to help the home side take the lead for the first time with just over half an hour gone, and all of a sudden, having looked like a coupon buster, the home banker was back on. Jake Livermore on hand to hammer in the rebound after Phillips' chip hit the post. Last season, 45 of West Brom's goals came from Jay Rodriguez and Dwight Gale. Both strikers have left, and Bilic will be delighted to see the goals are being spread around this time around. Grady Diangana, the 3rd different scorer of the afternoon for the home side, and this one, arguably, the best of the day. With an elusive first win of the season at the Hawthorns looking secured, West Brom let their guard down just before the break. Stumbles and fumbles from the defence allowed Bradley Johnson to eventually scramble the ball home and bring to a close a first half with 5 goals. So what would the second bring? More of the same? Blackburn thought so. Semi Ajayi hit his own crossbar trying to clear Stuart Downing's cross. The ball ended up in the back of the net, unfairly according to referee Tony Harrington, who felt keeper Sam Johnston had been fouled by Dack or Darragh Lenihan, or maybe even both. Either way, the goal didn't stand. Stuart Downing clipped the post as Rovers continued to look for an equaliser, but for West Brom boss Mowbray, he had to leave his old home empty-handed.
2 of the division's lowest scorers in need of a fox in the box, but the transfer window had closed before Birmingham or Stoke could sign that 4-legged pre-game intruder. Could either side follow the Foxes' lead and find the back of the net was the only question. Well, that wasn't the fate awaiting the home side's Jefferson Montero. The Swansea loanee went down following an innocent-looking collision after half an hour to be replaced by Jude Bellingham. Remember that name? At just 16 years and 63 days, the boyhood Blues fan was ready to come of age. Stoke hadn't won here since 1988 and the early signs weren't promising. Rugged defending, and that's putting it politely, saw Danny Batth send Alvaro to the floor, leading to three sides of the ground yelling for a penalty. Much to the stricken Spaniards' disgust, referee James Linnington decided to let it go. Replays suggested the Potters defender had certainly ridden his luck. The struggling visitors, still looking for their first league win of the season, turned up the tempo in the second half and almost made the breakthrough. Lee Gregory was unlucky to see his shot at the post, but it rebounded kindly for Joe Allen. All he had to do was hit the target. All he could find was the side netting. That Fox would have probably tucked this one away. But with the pressure building and just before the hour, the breakthrough. Tommy Smith sent a tempting free kick into the box, which drifted past everyone except Liam Lindsay lurking at the far post. It was the Scottish defender's first goal for the club, and it served to wake the Blues from their slumber. Dan Crowley's introduction from the bench provided a spark, and when Maxime Collin sent in a cross, Lukas Jutkiewicz was at the far post ahead in the equaliser on 73 minutes. And that set the stage for the youngster Bellingham. This tame-looking shot probably wasn't going anywhere until it took a deflection off the luckless Lindsay to send the teenager into the record books. Not only the youngest scorer in the EFL since Jordan Ives 7 years ago, but also younger than Trevor Francis when he scored his first for the Blues too. Fairy tales don't get much better than this.
What a story that is. We'll get to it in a second. You couldn't believe it wasn't a penalty for Birmingham earlier on. Couldn't believe it. You said it was sixpence here.
Definitely. I mean, okay. Danny Batth, I think
10-1.
I think he wins the header originally, but then I don't know why he's pulled him back, and then he is trying to get out of the way when he steps on his face, which is really, really unfortunate. But definitely the pull for me was a penalty.
And definitely accidental. That,
yes.
I'm not saying it wasn't. Right, Jude Bellingham then, youngest ever scorer for Birmingham. Tell me his story. It sounds
well, I mean,
perfect.
you know, he's been a Birmingham fan since he was 7. I mean, obviously he's only 16. That's not too long, but I know what it's like to play as a 16-year-old. It's scary to be out there, but to get that goal, what an incredible feeling for him. I mean, maybe Trevor Francis might be having a little look.
Why?
In case it was going wide.
Oh, you're the cruelest person in the world. It wasn't going wide. West Brom still unbeaten this season. It was a good game. Let's just have a look at the equaliser. We've argued about this. This is for 1-1.
I could totally. For me, this is a foul on Cunningham from Phillips, because he's done the clever move of grabbing his arm and pulling him back, but pulling his arm towards his body, quickly getting round him and scoring the goal. That, for me, is a foul.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed in you, Dino, that you, of all people.
But first win at home for Bilic, which is important.
Grzycki, did he mean it? Did he not? We think absolutely not, right?
I think this is a terrible free kick. If I'm in the penalty area waiting to head this in, I'm turning towards him probably and go, "What is this?" But then to see it go in the back of the net, he'll claim it.
But what a player! And when Bowen gets a lot of the headlines, he deserves just as many. Right,
yeah.
42 years separate Scott Parker and Neil Warnock, so very much youth versus experiences. Fulham went to Cardiff last night, and Martin Fisher joined them.
Flint in swiftly for Cardiff. Lovely ball for Murphy. Glatzel waits in the middle. Murphy looks like he's going to go alone here. And why not? He's found the bottom corner. And a lovely counter-attack from the home side. And now it's Kearney. Cavallero. Mitrovic! It's 1-1. A goal in his last 5 games now for the Serb. And Harry Archer, I think, is going to be the first booking of the night here. Well, the referee going across to speak to the assistant far side, because I think there's some feeling here that it might be a second yellow for Arter for diving.
and Harry Arter is sent off.
Just the one game, thankfully, been so important for them this season. So there's the table. Swansea's win takes them above Leeds into top spot as Steve Cooper's dream start continues. Charlton and West Brom are the only other unbeaten sides, and they climb to second and fourth respectively. Despite both leading, the bottom two once again lost and remain the only sides yet to pick up a victory. Brentford jumped 5 places to 14th after their emphatic win. When we return, it's League One and League Two. On the pitch, we'll concentrate on every single goal, as usual. And of course, very big story to talk about off the pitch. And we're going to start with that when we come back. Welcome back. Now, we are essentially a highlight show, but we continue our promise now to discuss Bury and Bolton every Saturday. We also continue to say we're a fan show, and this is what we want to mark now. I just want to show you this. This is a poster version of what Bury had planned to put on the front cover of their matchday programme had their game against Doncaster Rovers at Gig Lane gone ahead today. And this is exactly what it's all about. The game didn't go ahead. This programme will never be printed. But this man on the cover is Kenny Hindle. I mentioned Kenny briefly on Wednesday night, but I want to tell you a little more about him. He's 78 years old. He's been going to Gig Lane for 70 years, ever since his mum took him on the bus as a wee bird, and he was only 8 years old at the time, and he's been going ever since. Kenny's life's been up and down. He lives right now in sheltered accommodation. He doesn't have the internet. He doesn't use social media. He's actually been going to the ground for weeks and weeks now, asking directly for updates on what's going on with the most important thing in his life. And it's people like Kenny who suffer in weeks like this more than anybody else. It's always the fans. It's people like Kenny that we must now keep at the forefront of our minds. There's no point tweeting out how disgusted we are and how sad we are if we just sit here again in a year from now and have the same story. How do we deter the wrong people from taking over football clubs? And make no mistake, lost in this is there's so many good owners there are out there, whether it's fan-owned or otherwise. But we want to talk about that now. What's going to stop me holding up another programme in 12 months? Because that's the key, Dean.
That is the key, and Bolton have been another team that have been very, very close, and I think the fans probably don't understand how powerful they can be together, and I'm not just talking about Bury fans, because they'll fight, that's for sure, but I'm talking about the wider football community, because if a club as historic as this can be expelled out of the league, then your club could be. So it's so important that they don't just brush this under the table and forget about it, and that they do make sure that they're heard and that the rules are changed.
That's bang right. Let's not move on from Kenny. Let's not move on from this feeling. Let's talk to me about a specific one idea, Sam, that you have that might help our conversation.
Well, I just think there needs to be more transparency when we're looking at the finances of the football club, and it can't just be, you know, these takeovers being rushed through because clubs are in dire straits of a new owner. They need to know exactly what the plan of the new owner is, what he's got in terms of finances for not just that season, but for the next 2-3 seasons. And of course, the salary caps has been spoken about in the last few days. That's something we're going to have to look at realistically.
There seems to be real momentum for that, Dean. Of course it's hard to implement. There's no easy solutions, though. I'm sick of hearing that's too difficult to sort. When it comes to stopping people moving money out of the club, the sister companies are not coming back. Let's ask the government for help. Let's see if they can create a law that helps related to football clubs. Grounds being sold. There's actually some laws there that can be used to protect land and grounds that have been there for so many years. So it's not going to be easy, Dean. That's why you said, and you're right, fans got to stick together.
They have, yeah, and this just cannot be forgotten, because you're right, there has to be some big changes, and it can't just be governed by the football clubs themselves who make the rules. It has to be a wider audience that have their say.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, listen, it didn't cost us too much. We don't have much budget in this show. We'll send this to you. You can put it up on your wall. And when Bury fans come together and they resurrect Bury, which we know they will at a lower level, but on that day you can put that first programme alongside that. At the other end of the spectrum, but only just as Bolton wonders, they came so close to the end, but after the successful 11th hour takeover by Football Ventures, they lived to fight another season, and that new start began at Gillingham.
Midweek, Bolton survived EFL expulsion thanks to Football Ventures takeover. The travelling army headed to Gillingham to see if the fight to avoid relegation could start despite a still threadbare squad. Gillingham, like Bolton, was still looking for their first win of the season and showed no mercy. Connor Ogilvie slamming in the first from 6 yards out. Bolton had hoped to sign 4 or 5 senior players before this match, but could only get one deal done. The Gills brought in more than that during the week, including re-signing Ollie Lee on loan from Hearts. He marked his return with a goal. Only time will tell what this period of football will have done to Bolton's youngsters as they've battled on to represent the club. The one-way traffic continued into the second half as Brandon Hanrahan made it 3-0. Just a few minutes later, Lee scored his second of the afternoon, and Steve Evans' side were well on their way to recording a first win of the season. Despite the obvious shortcomings of the opposition, the home fans were still loving every minute of this. There was at least something positive for Bolton fans to take in on the journey home. 2 hours after the final whistle, Keith Hill was appointed as manager. Jordan Boone's own goal, the last conceded in Jimmy Phillips' reign. It's fair to say the new boss has an uphill challenge.
With Blackpool unbeaten so far, Bloomfield Road looked a difficult venue for Portsmouth to collect a first away win of the league season. But that changed when Curtis Tilt trod on the ball on the edge of his own box. Marcus Harness was the man to benefit, firing Portsmouth into a 17th minute lead. John Marquis played a role in that opener. The £1 million signing is starting to show Pompey what he can do. He tested Jack Anick in the first half, where Portsmouth seemed to be heading in the right direction. Pompey and Blackpool will certainly have felt for Bury this week. Both of these clubs are emerging from the darkest periods of their own histories, particularly Blackpool, who seem to be on a different level this season. Armand Nandouille's second half header ensured that their positive start to the campaign continues. A 5th goal of the season already for the striker, who might have clinched victory for the Tangerines soon afterwards. But this glancing header flew wide, and the game finished all square. The fair result, according to Blackpool manager Simon Grayson.
He left 3 seasons ago, but the second return of Adi Akinfenwa was front and centre at AFC Wimbledon, who've suffered their worst start to a league campaign and are still looking for their first win. The afternoon wasn't all about the beast, though, although I'm not sure you'd describe it as more than much ado about 0-0. Luke O'Neill going close there. Nathan Trott might have been credited with an assist here. His long punt found Darius Charles and fell right in the path of Joe Piggott, but he couldn't find the target either. Akinfenwa did have chances to punish his former club for Wycombe. Joe Jacobson's corner was one. That was agonisingly wide. And we had an indication it really wasn't going to be the beast this afternoon when Nick Freeman had an attempt that was parried into his path, found the back of the net, only for him to be ruled offside. Wimbledon's excellent record against Wycombe continues. They've not lost in 7.
You won't see a better free kick than this today. Marcus Maddison opening the scoring for Peterborough against a Sunderland side who'd swaggered down the A1 in terrific form. 5 straight wins in all competitions and unbeaten in the league. But that record looked to be going up in smoke 7 minutes into the second half when young defender Josh Knight found himself in an advanced position from where he duly scored his first senior goal. An impressive strike stunning the Black Cats. And it was a blow they never looked like recovering from either. Posh kept the tempo high, and 12 minutes later they'd pretty much wrapped this one up. Maddison started it, and he was eventually on hand to finish it too. Sunderland may have dumped Premier League Burnley out of the Carabao Cup in midweek, but this was nothing short of a meltdown. It might have been better for visiting manager Jack Ross if the referee had blown up there, because he'd have been spared the sight of 2 of his players completely losing the plot. First up, Luke O'Neill. A left hook to flatten Ivan Toney, which might have impressed a boxing promoter, but which didn't impress referee Craig Hicks. And just to confirm a collective losing of heads, 7 minutes later, O'Neill was followed into the dressing room by the already booked Charlie White's ridiculous lunge on Dan Butler. Peterborough red hot on the day, Sunderland red-faced, red-carded, and brought back down to earth with a bump.
Ipswich fans were asked to be patient by manager Paul Lambert in case Shrewsbury parked the bus. The bus never had time to arrive before Caden Jackson broke through for the leaders after just 2 minutes. Who needs patience when he can score goals like that? His 4th in 3 games. Shrewsbury's long injury list didn't help their cause, but the corner flag did, and so did Sean Wally's trickery. The winger would later blot his copybook, but there were no complaints this time. The cross fell perfectly for Steve Morrison, but his header couldn't end his run of 35 games without a goal. Minutes later, that miss looked doubly worse when Kane Vincent-Young went down under a challenge from Josh Laurent. Penalty, said the referee. Outside the area, protested the Shrewsbury defence. Replay suggested they had a good case. Not that James Norwood was going to argue, and he duly buried his kick down the middle for his 5th goal in 4 matches. Shrewsbury boss Sam Ricketts had told his players to make history by winning at Portman Road for the first time. And a comeback became even more unlikely when Wally just made life more difficult by getting sent off for a second bookable offence approaching half-time. It wasn't just their new purple and white kit which made Shrewsbury unrecognisable. Their defence had conceded only 3 league goals until today. But Ipswich were rampant. Vincent-Young and Jackson combined in the second half to set up Flynn Downs for his first goal in Ipswich blue. The Tractor boys are motoring coolly ahead of the field.
Let's start at the beginning. It's so hard to judge any game Bolton are involved in at the moment. But Keith Hill's in. That means David Flitcroft as well. What do you make of that?
Good decision. Keith Hill's a manager that I've admired from afar for a number of years. Knows that part of the country. He'll know the players that are out of contract. Some young players may be worth giving an opportunity. He did fantastic well at Rochdale, getting them promoted. I think that's a good appointment.
Other end of the table, Norwood's top scorer in the division. Everything's perfect for him at the moment, and Ipswich stay at the top. Value today. He's moved up a level. I've hardly noticed the difference.
No, exactly, yeah, and credit to him. I was surprised that maybe a Championship side didn't take him, but sometimes actually as a player, it is about making that right move, and I think Ipswich is perfect for him, and so important that they have strikers that can score goal. Jackson as well has done very well.
5 goals, people going saying, yeah, but 2 were penalties. Tell that to Paul Pogba. And look what's happened here. The actual Rock has tweeted him back because his goal gif there is him doing the people's elbow. And he tweeted back saying, great form, brother. If you're watching, Dwayne, don't go out drinking with James Norwood. You'll never make it through the night. I don't care how strong you are inside the ring. You can't beat him in the ring bar if you go to that.
It was important that the fans were on side this year, and I think just his mood around the place has lifted the supporters. But that was vitally important for Ipswich today. I saw a stat, 2017 December was the last time they've won by a 2-goal margin at Portman Road. So to win comfortably in this new season in League One, very important.
Now, talking about winning comfortably, we gave them the performance of the weekend, last weekend, and the show we wore their badge. I nearly did 2 weeks in a row, not quite, it was right up there. Peterborough, 7 goals without reply. 3 today against Sunderland, who were flying. They went to MK and put 4 in. Click is the word. It's clicked.
Yeah, absolutely. And playing this diamond with Maddison at the point, and he was the story today. Offered to Sunderland, it came out in the week. Did they want his services? They thought he was too expensive. Well, it was written, wasn't it, that he was going to be the man today to produce. What a free kick. And that's the longest 1-2 of all time there. And he gets on the end of it in the box.
And also, I just think as well that firepower, I think Peterborough obviously just been waiting for that to click into gear, and if you got players like that could score your goals, it gives you a great chance.
Good stuff. And for Sunderland, you've just won 5 in a row there. No point ebbing towards crisis because of one bad afternoon.
Yeah, well, I was watching that this afternoon. I think Sunderland supporters tonight just take a breath because there wasn't a great deal in the game, and they've had some fantastic results. It's been coming good, and obviously beat Burnley in the week, so on the up, I would say.
But today lost the game and lost their heads. Now, whilst Lincoln made a loud and notable start to the season, Fleetwood will be going about the business somewhat more quietly. So let's see who brought the noise today.
Lincoln gave and were given the cup run around by Everton midweek, but those players anointed to turn out again didn't appear to be struggling when Fleetwood came to Sincil Bank. Harry Toffolo providing for Tyler Walker. That was his 3rd in 4 games. Here's something you rarely see in a 60-second cycle. Another goal within a minute. Walker again in exactly the right place. A fabulous finish from the pass from Callum Connolly, and Fleetwood were in trouble. Ched Evans had the best chance for the visitors, teed up by some brilliant work from Wes Burns, but he fired wide. Lincoln are one of the teams right up there on Ipswich's tail at the top of the table.
An important win for us off the back of a couple of disappointing results, some good performances but disappointing results, and it was good to get back to winning ways today.
I'm credit to Lincoln. They kept the back door closed, weathered the storm, and obviously we passed up a number of opportunities with our strike force who usually put those kind of chances away. And yeah, look, we're not too disappointed other than the fact that we've lost the game.
Burton without a league win at home, Bristol Rovers pointless on their travels, but it was the Brewers who came closest to the opener. Liam Boyce repelled by Finnish keeper Anssi Jarkkila. That was the best, maybe the only chance of a disappointing first half. Thankfully, things improved after the interval, with the gas now starting to come to the boil. Johnson, Clark, Harris with a double-barrelled effort which forced a smart save from Kieran O'Hara. The Manchester United loanee's work wasn't done either. Next to try his luck was Ollie Clark. Tyler Smith's deflection needed quick reflexes from O'Hara to keep this one scoreless. It needed something special to get the better of two keepers on top of their game. And with 3 minutes of normal time remaining, something special arrived in the shape of Lucas Akins, finding the net from the tightest of angles. That was harsh on Rovers, who piled forward in search of an equaliser, and that proved to be their undoing. With bodies committed forward, they were undone on the counter-attack with virtually the last move of the match. Aussie Ryan Edwards with all the time he needed to get the better of Jarkkila and safely wrap up the points for Albion.
You have to go back to 1993 during their top flight days for a better Coventry start to the season. But it was Oxford who nearly took the lead through Anthony Ford. Marco Morosi with a save 90s legend Steve Grizovic would have been proud of. Having scored a spectacular first career goal on the opening day of the season, Zane Westbrook's expertly taken free kick put Coventry ahead in the first half. Oxford may be having success in the Cup, but they'd lost their last 3 matches in League One after a bright start to the season. Their luck summed up when Ben Woodburn struck the post. With players still forward from the corner, Coventry hit them on the break. Westbrook making space to pick out Matt Godden. The summer signing bided his time to feed on-rushing Fankati Darboe, whose cross was headed in by the former Peterborough striker, his 3rd goal since joining earlier this month. With new signing Matt Taylor out injured, Jamie Mackie is Oxford United's only fit striker. The 33-year-old's high-energy performance was rewarded with his first goal in 15 games to get them back into it. Time looked to be running out, then with 5 minutes to go, this happened. Disaster for Darboe. At 2-2, Oxford then pushed for a winner, but in doing so left the back door open again. Substitute Callum O'Hare put Coventry ahead once more in stoppage time. That looked like setting up a first away win of the season. Incredibly though, Oxford went on one last attack. Tariq Fosu's cross picked out Elliot Moore, but the Oxford defender admitted it had gone in off Darboe for a second own goal.
Listen, I'm not sure whether Darboe scored 1 or 2 own goals. I don't really want to analyse it. It's not fair if he's went double Darboe. But he's a player you've a lot of time for.
Yeah, good young professional. Had a loan spell at Swindon. Went off and had a couple of loans in Holland as well. And there's a bit of a Chelsea link at Coventry. Adi Viavash, formerly of the academy at Stamford Bridge, he's now at Coventry. They've had Charlie Wakefield, John Sterling last season, and now Darboe. So better things to come through, my hope.
Oxford United really good in the first half. Wasteful, if anything. Good bit of feistiness between Lincoln and Fleetwood. And in particular, Callum Connolly. There was a lot of chat in the build-up to this game, and so scoring a goal will help. Yeah, well, Fleetwood wanted to take him on loan, but he's gone to Lincoln from Everton, and he was involved, ironically, in the second goal today. This is his pass that sets Walker away for his brace. And again, this was Fleetwood really unfortunate today because they played some really good stuff, especially in the first half, and caught by 2 sucker punches. Joey Barton felt that they taught Lincoln a little bit of a lesson today, but Lincoln been nearly men the last few weeks. They got it right where it mattered today. Yeah, the Carleys had never lost 3 games in a row, so averted that today.
Yeah, and I think it was their 100th game in the EFL as well today, so they just go from strength to strength after a couple of indifferent results to bounce back today. Fantastic for them, and I think they're going to continue to be linked with jobs elsewhere while there's vacancies.
Yeah. OK, one more look at League One after the break, and if you're thinking of going anywhere, well, don't, but at least hit record. Are you going to miss League Two goals like this? And why would you want to miss any football? It's just crazy talk. Welcome back, straight back to it. 3 more League One games now, starting with the Southend team still looking for their first point of the season.
Kevin Bond has been putting a brave face on Southend's worst ever start to a season, but Rochdale did nothing for his worry lines. After a quiet half hour, the visitors burst into life and Ian Henderson couldn't miss for his 4th of the season. It's also the 9th goal Southend have conceded in 3 games. 2 minutes later, it was an imperfect 10. Another flowing Dale move mesmerised the home defence, and Aaron Morley's right boot did the rest. No chance that Brian Barry Murphy's team were thinking about next month's Carabao Cup tie at Old Trafford. This was the hard-nosed business of collecting league points. Callum Camps foiled on this occasion. No worries, Southend were rocking, and Rhys Norrington Davis rolled the ball into the path of Camps to calmly place number 3. Rochdale did the double over the Shrimpers last season. At this rate, double figures looked possible. But Matt Doan's firm connection was well met by Mark Oxley on his return to the home goal. Bond's team were looking shaken, stirred and shattered. The visitors were playing with them like a cat with a toy. A 6th defeat only means more tough questions for the home manager to answer. Life in League One has been tough so far for Tranmere. 3 defeats and a win at struggling Bolton. Still, they took the game to Rotherham. Kieran Morris bringing out a save from Daniel Iverson. The Millers couldn't find a rhythm in the first half. Ben Wiles' unconventional route to goal seemed to confuse Scott Davis, who had his post to thank after losing track of this one. The home side looked to assert after the break, but was still struggling to properly test the Rovers keeper. Matt Crooks blasted over before Wiles took a far more conventional route to goal. The 20-year-old getting a much better connection this time as he scored his first ever league goal. Rotherham conceded in injury time in the Carabao Cup midweek, and there was a sense of deja vu late in this one. Yes, the ball might have gone out of play. Yes, there might have been a handball. No, there wasn't a whistle, and Stephen Payne forced the ball home. Cue the mad celebrations. Limbs, as the cool kids would say.
The goals have been flowing for MK Dons so far this season. Well, for everyone apart from Kieran Agard, that is. Last season's top scorer was without a goal until this game at Accrington. Situation remedied. With only 1 point on the board so far, Stanley is starting to get nervous about their prospects, but they were unlucky not to be level. Joe Pritchard couldn't have come much closer to a spectacular goal. On Friday, John Coleman said he'd happily take one off Colby Bishop's backside if it won Stanley the game. Funny you should say that, John. Guess who knocked this one in? We think it was stomach rather than buttock, but you have to admit, that was a pretty spooky prediction. Especially as Accrington turned the game on its head soon afterwards. The home side took the lead on the hour mark. Pritchard with the perfect cross, and Mark Hughes scoring with a well-placed header. Stanley were well worth their lead, which could have been greater. After an impressive run, Jordan Clark was brought down by Bailey Cargill, a clear penalty. Bishop stepped up, but was denied. If only he'd taken it with his backside. You wondered if that might cost Accrington the much-needed points. Soon afterwards, Pritchard contributed his second crossbar hit of the afternoon, as a match-clinching goal would not go in. Then, in squeaky bum time, there was a monumental scare. MK Dons had the ball in the net, but it was controversially ruled out. The question is whether Sam Nom touched it on its way through to Rhys Healey. The assistant referee said he had, the equaliser was ruled out, and Stanley had a cheeky first win of the season.
Right, let's start at the top. We'll work our way down. The negative side is Southend's woes at the moment, lost 6 from 6, and managers having to say, I'm going nowhere. A lot of the fans are calling, screaming for blood at the moment.
Going to be tough for Kevin Bond to keep his job. I think it's 26 games now, dating back to last season, that they last kept a clean sheet. Conceded 17 goals already this season, different personnel. Defensively, lost count of the amount of players that he's tried to play in the defence. And today, 3 front players in the team and still couldn't get themselves on the score sheet at the other end.
Also, I think as well, we've had a lot of assistant managers, and sometimes, you are just a number 2 and you're great at it. And I think that's where he should be as an assistant. It's clearly not working as a manager.
3 up front today as well, as you said, for 2 shots on target. Let's look at from Rochdale's point of view. This didn't even make the highlights. It takes that long. But I've found a little, I know we don't chat much, but I've found a little bit of time. This is the first goal. And just, there's already been 6 passes at this stage. I'm not saying it's Brazil 1970, but look at this. For those people that say, I don't watch third-tier football because it's all rubbish, watch this goal.
Yeah, I mean, the kit could become as iconic, but I doubt it. But you're right, it's a joy to watch. The build-up was just superb and just shows, I think, how the manager wants his team to play.
Absolutely, a great example of how Rochdale have been playing in the last few weeks, and it's 2 former teammates of mine that combined for the finish. Jimmy Keohan, who I've never seen playing on the right-hand side ever, supplying a delicious delivery for our mate Hendo to get another goal.
Yeah, it'll be the Morley goal that everyone loves to see, so they can score the spectacular. But the first goal was better than this. It's a great strike, though, from Morley. And Brian Barry Murphy, I love saying Brian Barry Murphy, I don't know why. 17 league games, only 4 defeats.
Yeah, I mean, they were against top teams, 2 against Sunderland, 1 against Portsmouth and Charlton. So
Portsmouth and Charlton were away as well.
Yeah, I think they've taken that confidence from the results of the end of last season and just brought that forward into the new season.
Mm-hmm. Right, the story of Colby Bishop at Accrington. Very important. I know this goes in often, really, this goal, but it doesn't matter. What he's done so far, an unlikely hero for them in the absence of an important player.
Yeah, well, it's the type of player that John Coleman has to go shopping for, if you like, and got himself a little predatory goal today. Should have had a brace, missing a penalty. And I was pleased for another former teammate of mine, Mark Hughes here. He was at fault probably for the MK Dons opener, but that's a really cultured header on the far post, and he's a technically very good defender. He's a big part of what John Coleman did at Accrington over the last few years. Colby
Bishop from Leamington did 21 goals in the National League North. So it's quite a jump up, and to have scored 4 in the last 5. So that's wonderful stuff. Milton Keynes Dons, MK Dons had a goal ruled out for offside. Listen, we still unfortunately have 1 camera in the League One games. It's hard to tell whether, but did it flick off, and that's the key on the way through. And it's no matter how many times we watch it, we can't see it. But very magnanimous of Paul Tisdale to say, well, regardless, we didn't deserve it.
No, exactly, yeah. And I think he's probably worried. I mean, that's 13 goals in 7 games in all competitions they've conceded. That is a worrying stat if you're the manager, and despite obviously not getting that decision, they were second best.
Listen, we'll not bother showing it because we've run way over because of Rochdale's fault. Don't do Brazil 1970. We have the time. The Tranmere late equaliser, we don't think across the line. We properly... Well, let's have a quick look. It's fair to have a quick look at it. We'll jog it here for people. We don't have the technology. It's very close, but maybe just didn't sneak over, right? So looks like the right decision.
Yeah, it looks like it just stays in play. It's a bit of a mess after that, but Stephen Payne, I think getting Tranmere probably a deserved equaliser, it sounds like. Rotherham not at the races today.
Yeah, if it was Wimbledon, you would have challenged it, but you would have lost the challenge. That's what we're saying there. So big moment for Tranmere. Right, there you go. League One out of the way. So let's take a little look at the table. And Ipswich, who extend their lead at the top to 2 points. Lincoln jump 5 places to second. 4 of the top 5 remain unbeaten after draws for Blackpool, Coventry and Wycombe. That is your top half of the table. Bottom club Bolton are now the only side in AFL yet to score, but new management in place. A crazy week where they just survived. 22nd place Southend are the only club yet to pick up a single point. We just saw that. The Gills and Accrington won for the first time this season. Well done to them. Right, the 4th tier now is also great goals there. We're going to start with 2 of the top 4, Forest Green Rovers and Newport.
Joe Wallacott was man of the match for Forest Green Rovers on Wednesday as he kept Premier League Bournemouth quiet for 90 minutes in the Carabao Cup. He was soon hearing the jeers and cheers of Newport County fans as he slipped up to let Padraig Amond in after just 4 minutes. As the new lawn sat in stunned silence, Wallacott was nearly beaten for a second time. Robbie Wilmot's deflected effort flying just wide. Midway through the first half, the Rovers keeper could hear those travelling fans again as they let the referee know what they thought of this challenge. James Adcock agreed, and the home side were down to 10. County struggled to make the extra man count, and it was Forest Green who came closest to scoring. The thud of the post let Joseph Mills know he hadn't equalised. The Exiles have been making a bit of a noise so far this season, and an injury time goal from Ryan Haynes moved them up to second. Michael Flynn's side are now unbeaten in 16.
Got a fantastic group of players. You know, there's things that we're not happy about today, even after winning, that we'll work on in the week. But we just got to keep improving, and you know we've had a decent enough start, and you know I'm pleased for them because they deserve the 3 points today.
Bradford are in orange, Crewe the home side in red, thank heavens for the white shorts at the Alexandra Stadium. The Bantams had the ball in the net early on thanks to James Vaughan. It was then disallowed due to Clayton Donaldson being offside and interfering with play despite a Crewe player passing to Vaughan for the goal. It's still 0-0, and that is Charlie Kirk having a chance sent wide. The game went with early season form. The Bantams opened the scoring eventually, Vaughan making sure that one did count as he pounced on an excellent Jamie Devitt attempt that had been tipped on the bar by Will Jääskeläinen. That is 3 for Vaughan in his last 5 games in the league. Just before half-time, in an almost perfect repeat of his earlier chance, Kirk went one further with the keeper and opened his league account for the campaign. Paul Green had the chance to make it 2 for the home side, but he blasted wide from close range. But it wasn't over. Tom Lowry scored just the second goal of his career, and that would be just the ticket. Although Bradford went on to pepper Crewe's goal in the last 20 minutes, Crewe held on for their 4th win of the season.
After bottom half finishes in recent seasons, both of these sides have made far more positive starts to the new League Two campaign. Crawley were almost too confident here. Tom Dallison chesting down Ryan Broom's attempted lob to almost let Cheltenham in. Key to Crawley's early season form is striker Bez Labala, whose free kick almost made it 6 goals since joining from Birmingham this summer. Labala hit the winner to knock Norwich out of the Carabao Cup in midweek. He's a prime example of a player dropping down a couple of divisions to get his career back on track. But for all their skillful talent under Italian boss Gabriele Cioffi, Crawley's winner came from a good old-fashioned English punt downfield and some bulldozing target man play from Ollie Palmer. Last season's top scorer with a 91st minute winner. His celebration helped his GPS stats a bit too.
From Selhurst Park to Boundary Park, Colchester's Carabao Cup heroes were back concentrating on the league with an early lucky let-off when Mohamed Maouche saw his shot glance off the post. Oldham were feeling the benefit of last week's first league win of the season, and heading towards half-time, Tom Hamer would have hoped Maouche would have made better use of his well-directed cross. Because seconds later, Frank Nouble, one of the week's shootout heroes against Crystal Palace, was sent clear. And his aim was just as true from open play as it was from the penalty spot. And instead of Tuesday's spot kick, came Saturday's celebration crane kick. United pushed on after the break, determined to seal a 3rd win in a row in all competitions. Theo Robinson on his debut was beaten by the bar, and Luke Norris's follow-up was saved by Gary Woods. But 3 points were in the bag at the end of a week when the U's were big news.
Absolutely, and we love a Crowdy Kids celebration, any generation. Long may they continue. I know you want to talk about Crewe and Charlie Kirk in particular.
Just been really impressed with him back in the last season as well. They were more playing a 4-4-2 really, so he was playing wide left. Now he's gone in one of the wide forward roles and he's really excelling. Assists, really creative and gets goals as well, and over 100 appearances for a 21-year-old. Another one like Dino out of the old academy.
We sat here on Wednesday night and talked about the superhuman performance of Joe Wallacott, albeit in defeat, but against a Premier League side in regular time, he was sensational. He had a nightmare today. Who'd be a footballer? Who'd be a goalkeeper?
Who'd be a goalkeeper, exactly.
Look at this. I don't know whether it was our show. Maybe he's watched it back too many times. He didn't get enough sleep. But he's given that away. Then he's gets sent off. But, you know, this kid's absolute quality, and he's had a mare today.
He has, yeah, but maybe it's gone to his head and he's just relaxed a bit. But typical goalkeepers now forcing them to play out from the back. They're just not comfortable sometimes.
I think we've done him a favour. Feet back in the ground, he'd be brilliant. He'd be brilliant when he comes back. Right, the rest of League Two coming up, and goals as good as these. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's the last part. Let's not hang around. Let's get straight to St James's Park in Exeter.
Exeter City will be sad to see the back of August following an unbeaten start to their league campaign, which has seen them top the early League Two table. The informed Grecians had Mansfield on the back foot as early as the 5th minute. Ryan Bowman lashing home his second league goal of the campaign. There could have been more for both Exeter and their goalscorer. Shortly before the break, Bowman was almost on target again, only for his header to come back off the post. The Stags had barely threatened, and things didn't noticeably change in the second half either. But the next goal just wouldn't come, although Jake Taylor's first timer from 20 yards out rattled the frame of the goal. The only other noteworthy incident came late on, and you'll have to take our word for it that Ryan Sweeney elbowed Bowman. Everyone missed it. Everyone, that is, except referee Nick Kinsley, who made sure Sweeney saw red in more ways than one.
So how are you doing with these new handball rules? No, me neither. Callum McFadzean was penalised here as Northampton were awarded a 7th-minute penalty. In fairness, he didn't protest. Ryan Watson converted the spot kick for a grateful Northampton. Argyle were perhaps still wondering if they'd been hard done by when they levelled themselves. A very cute free kick from Joe Riley gave him a first goal for the club. So far, Northampton haven't been at their best this season. Keith Curle says it's been a transitional phase for them. But maybe this is where things have started to gel. The Cobblers' second, finished off by Andy Williams, couldn't have been better crafted. Hoskins provided the cross for that one. He's now one of Northampton's longest-serving players. He almost had a goal for himself after newcomer Nicky Adams hit the post. But a third goal was on the way, and it was the same combination. Hoskins picking out Williams, who did the rest. A third goal of the season for him. The second 45 wasn't quite as thrilling, although Williams did come within inches of a first Cobblers hat-trick. Disappointment for Argyle, who had been hoping to complete their best start to a season in 15 years. Byron Moore's miss summed up their bad day at the office.
5 games in and Stevenage still hadn't scored in the EFL. A goal needed today to avoid Halifax's 1990 record of 6 matches without notching. You couldn't knock the effort. Curtis Guthrie hit a post with just 2 minutes gone. 5 minutes later, and only a wonderful double save denied them a goal that would have kept them out of the history books. Guthrie and Arthur Ionton kept out by Owen Evans. With the Macclesfield goal leading a charmed life and Stevenage seemingly cursed, surely one goal would win this for the visitors. Ben Stevens supplied that goal just before the half-hour mark. After the break, it looked as though the Borough would continue to be denied by a combination of Evans and the frame of his goal, until Guthrie eventually ended a near 9-hour wait for a Stevenage celebration. The relief was palpable and inspirational. Luther James Wildin letting loose from distance. And after hours and hours of waiting, it was 2 goals in 4 minutes. But could that lead to 3 points? Having got themselves into a winning position, the home side conspired to throw it all away. Kelland Watt bringing down Emmanuel Osadebi. Joe Ironside scored for the 2nd week in a row from 12 yards. And Macclesfield could have snatched it, but for another bar hit. Theo Vassell the unlucky one this time. At least Stevenage keep out of those history books.
If nothing else, Scunthorpe and Carlisle are entertaining for neutrals. Between them, they've already let in 22 goals in 10 games. But Scunthorpe fans have had next to nothing to cheer. A familiar story as Jan Songo's header was cleared off the line. Defeat would mean their worst start to a league season in 56 years. Confirmed when substitute Ryan Loft hit the winner just past the hour. The on-loan Leicester strikers' first league goal. Carlisle were still vulnerable, having let in 2 or more goals in the last 4 winless league games. Adam Collin helped preserve their first clean sheet of the season, but boos met the full-time whistle. Scunthorpe chairman Peter Swan insists now is the time for patience.
Bit of a smash and grab from Carlisle. No such problems for Northampton. Good all over the park today.
Very impressive performance, and I think over the last couple of seasons it's been a bit of a team of individuals really, and they'll be hoping that they've turned that corner now under Keith Curle, playing a different way from what he's done at previous clubs. But that was fantastic performance today, blowing away Plymouth.
Turnbull, Watson, Hoskins, Williams, you could reel the names off. Stephen, it's first goals of the season. We've got to mark that. No goals yet this season. We're into September. I think maybe sometimes you just need the first one to go in anyway, Dino. Just get it over the line like this. Look at this.
And that's what it was, wasn't it? It was the right scramble. But you're right, that would have lifted the players. I'm not too sure Wilding has ever done this before by the technique. But where he got on it.
Yeah. Exeter must be so important, and it was really opportunistic or really clever goal.
Got a good habit of winning by the odd goal, Exeter, this season, and I'm hearing rave reports about Dean Moxey, who takes the throw in here. Experienced campaigner, playing brilliantly in Exeter's defence at the moment. And Bowman, I mean, what a find he's been. Started last season brilliantly, ended last season brilliantly, and started this campaign absolutely on fire.
Now, that's new for this season. We've been doing our Team of the Week, and I mark it by the badge I'm wearing on my chest. If you haven't noticed yet, our Team of the Week's in this very last package of the night, and our final call starts at the county ground. Look, what am I doing this thing? Where Swindon took on Morecambe.
Stand by for what Richie Wellens called Swindon's worst display of the season so far. Not that you'd know it from these pictures. Owen Doyle's goal had the Robins ahead inside 5 minutes. Sure, it wasn't all plain sailing for Swindon. The Robins' lead didn't last long. Luis Alessandra's 4th goal in a Morecambe shirt hauled the Shrimps level. But 2 further goals had Swindon into a 3-1 lead before the game was even 21 minutes old. Jerry Yates is another who's hit the ground running for a new club. The latest from the Rotherham loanee was the first of 2 Swindon goals in 4 minutes. Regular scorer Doyle got the other one. It's now 5 goals in 4 appearances for him. Sounds good, right? So what was Wellens so upset about? Well, he felt that Swindon slacked off after that, giving their worst performance of the campaign by a long way. Morecambe couldn't punish them, though. Having let in 10 goals in 3 games, they would have loved to have been rubbish and still won 3-1.
League Two's new boys have taken time to settle into their new surroundings, just 1 win each this season. But that's hardly an excuse for Orient's defence to allow Richie Towell to mop up Scott Wiseman's bouncing throw-in and give Salford the lead after 13 minutes. The O's had racked up the National League's best defensive record last season, but they needed Dean Brill's brilliance to soak up the power of Manny Desiree's header minutes later. Still, the ball hung around the goal line as the home side tried to double their advantage, but eventually weight of numbers cleared the danger. The visitors only began to find their feet after the break. This well-worked move fell to Craig Clay to try his luck, but Salford's Chris Neal was ready and Louis Dennis couldn't force the rebound on target. 12 months ago, Orient's resilience had earned them a late equaliser at the Peninsula Stadium, and history repeated itself. James Brophy's low shot was straight at Neal, who made the save, then turned it agonisingly into his own net. The wait for a second league win goes on.
Walsall haven't won since the opening weekend of the season, but looked at it early on when Grimsby came to town. Rory Holden, Elijah Adebayo and a little composure from Keelan Lavery. His first league goal in red and white was one of the earliest EFL goals of the afternoon. That was it though for the home side. Grimsby, not even a little bit fancy to do much this season, whisper it quietly, are going along very nicely. That was Matt Green's best attempt, parried by Liam Roberts. Grimsby did get their first goal before the break. Roberts was out quickly at the corner. Elliot Whitehouse with a super header through a crowd of ball watchers for his second of the campaign. James Hansen was then set up by a lovely pass from Green down the right with just over 20 minutes left to play, and the Mariners went ahead. Cameron Pring then decided the only way to stop an on-rushing Max White was to simply body check him. The arms up in surprise when the penalty was awarded made me laugh. Hansen converted to go joint top of the scoring charts. As Grimsby celebrated, Walsall tweeted the loan signing of striker Rory Gaffney from Salford. They'll need goals from somewhere. They've managed 3 all season.
It's 26 years to the day since Cambridge United last picked up so much as a point at Vale Park, their graveyard for more than a quarter of a century. But when the home side's Christian Montagno sent an early header over the bar, hopes were raised of ending that wretched run. The visitors have managed a meagre 2 draws here over the years. They must be starting to think there's a jinx on them. Not even a shot on target in this one. Luke Hannon doing all the hard work. Sam Smith should have done better. David Amu had left Cambridge in the summer, so it was almost inevitable that he was at the heart of the game's key moment against his former club. A powerful run and a cross which caused chaos. Leon Davis forcing the ball into his own net with just 6 minutes left. That should have been enough time to find an equaliser, and Harvey Knibb should have grabbed it too. But in the end, an old and familiar tale. Cambridge, pointless in the Potteries.
And first clean sheet of the season for Port Vale. But my team of the week going to be Grimsby. Could have been Posh, Northampton, Newport, Brentford, but Grimsby a little bit for last week and this week. Georgie said whisper it quietly. We're going to have to shout it loud. They're in great form.
They are indeed, and Hansen, what a signing he's been. He's already equalled the amount of goals he got at Wimbledon last year. That's 5 he's got now, and I love this goal today. That's probably one of my favourite goals of the day.
Oh.
Bosh, look at that.
Top scorers in the division. Well, he's been involved in 7 other goals, one way or the other.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Sam likes it because that's what he used to do, is get up there and smash it in, but real confidence.
Crew badge?
Crew, yeah, back in the automatic races.
Going for Newport.
Newport, there you go. And we're all done. Let's have a look at the table. Thanks, guys. Unbeaten Exeter extend their lead at the top to 2 points. Newport, the only other side yet to lose, are up to second. Crew's 4th win in 5 sees them climb into the last automatic promotion spot. The bottom 2 are still waiting for their first win. However, Stevenage finally ended their goal drought with their first goals of the season. Northampton's second win moves them up 3 places to 17th. We'll be back then next week, League 1 and League 2, as it's International Week. We're still here, and we're on the road at Adams Park, Wickham, who play host to Lincoln City. And don't forget, download our free app, Quest OD. Watch the show live or on the go, or you can just watch on the website. Right, that is all. Now, most shows finish with a collection of the best goals of the day, but here we're all about real football, warts and all, and I'm telling you, there were some really smelly goals today.